Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Disney Plus is developing a brand new Riverdale slash Archie series. It's going to be called Afterlife with Archie. Basically, it's a post-apocalyptic nightmare type zombie fuel like world and everything. And sadly, it's gonna be created by Roberto. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Not this man again. So, in case you haven't known, Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, he is the man responsible for the CW Riverdale show. He is also responsible for the HBO rebooted series of Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. Now, he is like one of the head creators for when it comes to anything Archie comics related. He does not own the character or the company. He's merely the figurehead and everything, kind of like the Kevin Feige of things. And I'm pretty sure he is the one who is stopping the 90s Sabrina Teenage Witch revival and everything. Because one of the stars said there's a script ready, the cast wants to do it, they just have to get the rights. But somebody is blocking the rights. I believe it's him because he's the head of everything Archie related. And Sabrina is part of the Archie universe and everything. And so, yeah. And of course, he did The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I forgot to mention that on Netflix. Now, Roberto is a person. Okay, here's the thing. I don't hate him as a person. I just can't stand him as a creator. I think he is a hack. He has good ideas for the most part. It's just his execution completely and utterly sucks. The man doesn't have no type of original idea in his head, and everything he creates is always something of somebody else's property that he is adapting or rebooting. Like, he did that Carrie movie, and of course it was a remake, and a lot of people didn't like it. When it came out in 2009 or something like that, Riverdale was just, oh man. Like, here's the thing. The first season started off pretty solid. I'm like, okay, sure, I can vibe to this and everything. But by the time he got into the second season, I don't know what the heck happened to this show. It just kept falling more and more downhill, to where the cast was even embarrassed to be associated with the show. People watched either to make fun of the show or because they started with season one, they just couldn't stop watching. So I remember I was talking to this other YouTuber who now primarily deals in TikTok type stuff. And she started the show and she loved it. And I kept telling her, why are you still watching this show? It's awful. And she's like, I know it's awful, but I can't stop watching it. Until it got towards the end of the last series and she finally just gave up. She couldn't take it no more. And it's one of those things that, okay, it kind of helped keep the CW slightly afloat, but it also ruined the CW. It became one of those things that when people thought of the CW, they thought of things like Riverdale, because it was just that bad and just that cringy. And what really helped keep the CW afloat was the Arrowverse and everything. But like I said, it's one of those things where some of the people who starred in it just don't want to be remembered from that. And they're trying so desperately hard to move away from that in their careers. But a lot of their careers just aren't taking off because of the damage that this Riverdale has done. And then, of course, he did The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was a darker take on Sabrina based off of his comic. And even though I've never read his comic, it actually sounds pretty cool and everything, you know? But then he came out with this show, and the show was just completely different from the comic, and it just kept getting weirder and weirder to the point where it just never made no sense. And then the last straw for me was freaking Pretty Little Liars when he rebooted that, but then decided to make it a spinoff. And my God, I never wanted something to get canceled so badly, other than like the sex lives, the college girls, than this show. Like, I don't understand. Like, he made it into like a slasher with this big hulking like Mike Myers looking dude. And somehow that was less scarier than a teenage girl running around town in a hoodie from the original series. I don't know how you have a teeny tiny 90-pound teenage girl wearing a hoodie that's more terrifying in the original series than what the world he gave us and stuff. So, needless to say, I'm just not happy when it comes to this dude creating stuff. Then there are the writers that he hires, and they're just god awful. Like Pretty Little Lies, Original Sin, that later turned into Summer School, has some of the worst writing I've ever seen. And on top of that, now he's gonna be on Disney Plus of all things. Like, yes, I've said before, I want Disney Plus to start creating stuff again, but not with him. Now, here's the thing: I'm not opposed to having a darker horror type like Archie show. I'm not. Because, you know, the comics leaned into that route, and there was even an animated series. I forget what it was called, maybe Archie Nightmares or something like that. And they delved into the darker themes of the Archie universe. I've never read the comics in which it was darker, and I've never seen that animated series that was darker because by the time it came out, I saw it on like Pluto, and I'm way past the age demographic for which that is for, so I just wasn't curious. But I wouldn't mind having a live action darker Archie series but I wanted to do something other than just zombies. I'm zombied out at this point. I think a lot of other people are zombied out at this point. I even made a video during like a 10-year span. There were like over 30 zombie like television shows out. And now there's only like one left. People are zombied out and everything. And not only that, I just don't want him to be the showrunner in developing this. He's not good at what he does. Not camera, but somehow his shows constantly get renewed over and over again. But it was even to the point where people realized, hey, the dude sucks, okay? Like, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin was not going to be the new Riverdale, and they realized that, and they just ended that after 2 seasons. I thought Hollywood has finally given up on this dude because he had another project in development, but nobody picked it up. But here comes Disney Plus, like an idiot, picking up this dude's series. And I think Disney Plus, Disney in itself is just desperate at this point. I mean, Disney Plus doesn't have no original shows outside of Marvel and outside of Star Wars. So I guess they were looking for something else that was different. But from him, God, like, I will be curious. And if I happen to have Disney Plus by the time this show is done, I will probably check out the first episode and the first episode only. But my expectations are very low. Now, I doubt the Riverdale cast is going to come back because of the simple fact they have aged out. But some of them can probably still pull off that teen look, you know. But like I said before, so many of them have distanced themselves from him and have tried to move on from the stench of that of Riverdale, which should tell Hollywood something. And I hate hating on this man because I'm sure he's a nice person in real life. But he's a horrible creator. He's just horrible and everything. Like when I say the man just ain't good, he just ain't good. Like even some of the most hardcore Riverdale fans, they can't even support Riverdale no more at this point, and even they criticize the show of how he handled the writing, how he handled the characters, how he handled the diverse characters and stuff. And he's a diverse man himself. He's like Latina and he's gay. And he wrote some of the most horrible people of color characters and LGBT characters there were. And it was even to the point where one actress literally had to call him out on Twitter and everything because she was, I think she's Afro Latino in real life, and he had her playing like a lesbian, and the actress had to call him out because she's all like, she will not be like the lesbian, like, person of color best friend, because that's literally all her character was. Her character literally had no substance to it, and she was just a love interest and stuff. And she didn't like that. She's all like, why am I wasting my time playing this character and everything? Where like people looked at her kind of like a puppy to that of the person she was dating. And after hearing that and being called out on Twitter, he later started writing her character with substance. But then he overdid it when it came to Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, to the point where, as a person of color myself and as a person who loves diversity and wokeness and everything, I'm just like, what the heck I'm watching and everything? Like, this is so unrealistic, I can't even explain it. Because it's like when he doesn't write good characters, then he overdoes it and try to write good characters, but to the point of where it's cringe and unbelievable and stuff. But yeah, there's gonna be a scary Archie show with zombies now, I guess. If Disney 100% approves it. So far, it's just in development. So we shall see. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.